Hello everyone and welcome to the Time to Cook Club Juniors and to your online class. So today we're going to be making Starry mince pies. So if you're joining me today, hopefully you have all of your ingredients weighed out, measured and ready to go, and also the equipment from the equipment list. So let's make a start. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to add our plain flour into the bowl. And now what we're going to do is we're going to grate our orange zest. So the zest of the orange is basically just the skin of the orange, okay? And we're going to use a small grater to gently stroke the orange down, okay? Which is going to grate the zest, okay? So remember, graters are very sharp. They can grate orange peel, so they can definitely grate your fingers. So please, please be careful. Okay, and just keep turning the orange round until you have grated all the sides of the orange, okay? Like so. And you'll get a really, really lovely smell coming off of the orange. It smells really, really citrusy. Great work, guys, well done. And just continue until you have grated all of the orange. So you'll know which parts you've grated because they'll be a much lighter orangey colour. Okay, so just be very careful when you're getting the zest off, and you can just kind of put that to one side because we'll be adding that in later. So in this recipe we're using both margarine and something called Trex, which helps to make really nice flaky pastry. So we're going to add in the margarine and we're going to add in the Trex, and we're going to use our tickly fingers to rub the fats into the flour, okay? So try and keep your fingers in the bowl, otherwise you're going to get a big puff of flour in your face and you'll end up looking a little bit like Olaf in a snowstorm. But if you raise your hands a little bit, okay, so that they're still in the bowl, but they're a little bit higher, and this will add some air into your pastry, okay? So we're just going to carry on rubbing in our fats into the flour until the mixture resembles fine breadcrumbs. And every now and again, we can give the bowl a wiggle, a shake, okay? And then all the bigger bits of fat will come to the top, and we'll know which bits we still need to work on. So I'll see you back here when you've rubbed in all of those fats into your flour, and we can continue with our fabulous Starry mince pies together. Okay, welcome back guys. So hopefully by now your mixture resembles fine breadcrumbs. So now you need to add in your icing sugar. And this is going to sweeten up your pastry. You're also going to add in that lovely orange zest that you grated earlier. And then you're going to add 3 tablespoons of chilled water. So 1, 2, and 3. And then what you're going to do is, using a spoon, you're going to stir the mixture together, okay, until it starts to come together and it forms a ball, okay? So when you can start to see your mixture coming together into a ball, what you can do is you can remove your spoon, okay, and then just use your hands to gather the mixture together into a ball of dough. You might want to pop some flour onto your hands before you do this, okay, and then just gather up the dough into a ball, okay? So your bowl should look pretty clean as the mixture starts to come together, okay? I'll show you mine in just a minute. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, I have my ball of dough and my bowl looks really clean. So now what you need to do is you need to wrap this ball of dough in cling film, okay? And then pop it into the fridge to chill for 10 minutes, okay? It's going to make your pastry much, much easier to roll out if it's chilled. So I'll see you back here in 10 minutes and we can continue with our recipe. Okay, welcome back guys. So now what you need to do is you need to go and ask your grown-up to preheat the oven to either gas mark 6 or 200 degrees or 180 degrees if you're using a fan oven. The reason why we need to preheat the oven is to make sure that the oven is at the perfect temperature to cook our bakes in when we're ready to pop them into the oven. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to sprinkle some dusting flour onto our chopping board or our work surface, pop our pastry on top and then sprinkle some more flour on top. Next, we need to get our rolling pin, and again, we can pop some flour on that to make sure that the pastry doesn't stick to our rolling pin. And then we're going to roll our pastry out into a circular shape, okay, about ½ centimetre thick. Okay, so we can roll and then we can turn. Great work, guys, well done. Okay, so you then need to grab your cutter, and we're cutting out 12 circles and 12 stars for the top, okay? So when you're using your cutter, you're going to stick it in. I'd start around the edge, okay? And then give it a wiggle, and then it should come out, okay? And you can pop your circles to one side. So it's a good idea to start at the edge and work your way in, and that way you don't waste any pastry, okay? So remember, we're cutting out 12 circles to start with, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and I'm going to have to roll it out again to get my extra 1 round circle and my 12 stars, okay? So just give your pastry a little bit of a knead. That's the trimmings that you've gathered up. Give them a little bit of a knead and it will help to stick them all together, okay? You might need some more dusting flour. And again, you're going to roll this out, okay? Because you need to get 12 stars and 1 round out of your trimmings if you haven't already cut that out, okay? Depending on how you're doing. So I've got 1 more round to cut out, and then I've got my 12 lovely stars. And I'm using a star cutter, but you might use a star template, in which case you'll have to get a knife to cut round the star. Try and keep the points of the star really kind of sharp, okay, so that you can tell that it's a bright, shining star. So 1, 2, 11, and 12. If you have any spare pastry, then of course you can make some more mince pies with it, or you might want to pop some jam in. You could do like jam tarts. But remember, your pastry has been flavoured with orange zest and also icing sugar, so it'll be nice and sweet. Now what we need to do is we need to prepare our tin. And it's really, really important that we prepare our tin, because otherwise we're going to struggle to get our mince pies out of the tin once they've been cooked. So I'm using a piece of kitchen towel and I've got some margarine. I'm just going to gently grease all the compartments in the cake tin, okay? Like so. Okay, so once you've greased your tin, okay, and all of the compartments have been greased with margarine, you're then going to grab your round circles of pastry and you're going to pop them very carefully and gently into your tin, okay? So you can lay them down and then using your fingers, carefully press the middle down so that it goes inside the tin. You don't want to use your fingernails because otherwise you're going to make a hole in your pastry case. So just the tops of your fingers, the pads of your fingers would be great, okay? Like so. Once you've placed your pastry circles into your tin, you're then going to pop your pastry circles back into the fridge to chill for 10 minutes, just to let the pastry settle, okay? So I'll see you guys back here in 10 minutes. Okay, welcome back guys. So hopefully by now your pastry circles have been chilling out in the fridge for 10 minutes. So now it's time for us to add in our mincemeat. So you need to add 1 teaspoon of mincemeat into each circle. Don't overfill your mince pies, otherwise it will kind of all spill out when you cook them, okay? So just 1 teaspoon into each case. Great work, guys, well done. And then what we need to do is we need to place 1 of the star pastries onto each circle, because this is going to be the lid for the mince pies. So I've got my 12 Starry mince pies. So now what we need to do is we need to make an egg wash to go on top of our mince pies, just to make that pastry a lovely golden colour once it's been cooked. So to make our egg wash, we're going to crack an egg into a cup, okay? So when we crack an egg, we're not going to do big dinosaur taps, little fairy taps, then pop our thumbs into the hole that we've created and pull the eggshell apart, leaving the egg in the cup. You can check whether you have any shell in your cup with your egg. If you do, you can fish it out. And if you have any egg on your hands, you need to go and wash them now. You also need to add in a tablespoon of cold water into the egg. And then with a fork, you need to beat your egg and water together to make your egg wash. Then using a pastry brush, you're going to brush the egg wash over the top of your mince pies. So you don't need to put loads on, okay, but just kind of paint a little bit of egg wash onto each of your starry mince pie tops. And that's really going to help your mince pies to turn a lovely golden brown colour in the oven. Okay, now you need to ask your grown-ups to pop your mince pies into the oven to cook for between 20 to 25 minutes. Once your mince pies are cooked and a lovely golden brown colour, your grown-ups need to take them out of the oven carefully and place them onto a cooling rack to cool down completely. But join me back here when you've done that, because we've still got an extra bit of decoration to go on. We need to roll out and cut out our marzipan stars. So I'll see you once your mince pies are completely cooled down and we can continue with our recipe together. See you in a bit, guys. Hello and welcome back, guys. So hopefully by now your lovely mince pies have been cooked and they've been taken out the oven and they're now nice and cool. So now we need to crack on with the task of finishing off making our decorations for our mince pies, and we're going to be making some marzipan stars to pop onto the tops of our mince pies to make them starry mince pies. So the first thing you need to do is you need to go and ask a grown-up to preheat the oven to either gas mark 4 or 180 degrees or 160 degrees if you're using a fan oven. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be cutting out marzipan stars. Instead of using flour to dust your work surface, you're going to use some icing sugar, okay? Because if we popped flour down, it would make the marzipan taste really strange. So you're going to grab your marzipan, you're just going to roll it around in the icing sugar. You're going to get your rolling pin and you're going to carefully roll out your marzipan. Now, we have made 12 mince pies, so we need 12 stars to go on them. So you need to roll out your marzipan, okay, so that you can cut out 12 stars, okay? So it needs to be not too thick, okay? And keep adding icing sugar to the top, okay, if your marzipan's getting a bit sticky or sticking to your rolling pin, okay? Well done, guys, great work. Now, when you have rolled it out to a size where you think that you'll be able to cut out 12 stars, then either take your cutter or get your template and cut around it with a knife. But please do ask an adult to help you, okay? So we want 12 stars. And just be really gentle with your stars, especially when you're taking them out of your cutter. Okay, you can use your finger to kind of loosen the star. And remember to go around the edge of the marzipan rather than starting right in the middle. You might need to re-roll your marzipan out, okay, again from the trimmings. That's absolutely fine, but see how many you can get out your first batch. Okay, so I've managed to get 10 out of my first attempt. And now I'm just going to knead the marzipan so that it all forms a ball again. Remembering to dust my work surface with some more icing sugar. Okay, roll it around and then roll it out with my rolling pin. So I only need to get 2 stars out of this ball of marzipan. Okay, so now what you need to do is you need to pop your marzipan stars on top of your mince pie stars. And if you put them ever so slightly off centre, then it will give the effect that your star is twinkling. So can you see that I've got my pastry star underneath, and then I've popped my marzipan star on, but it's not just overlapping. Okay, so I can see all the points of the star all the way around of the pastry, and then all the points of the star all the way around of the marzipan. So it looks a little bit like the star is twinkling. Okay, so you need to do that for all of the marzipan stars. These are looking really, really lovely. Okay, great work guys, they look absolutely delicious. So now what you need to do is you need to grab a piece of non-stick baking paper and line a baking tray. Okay, you're then going to pop your mince pies onto the baking tray. Okay, like so. And you're going to ask your grown-up to pop these into the oven for between 8 to 10 minutes, just to allow the marzipan to start to soften and kind of mould onto the tops of your mince pies. So your mince pie should go back in the oven for between 8 to 10 minutes, okay? So get your grown-up to keep an eye on your mince pies because obviously you don't want them to burn. Once that time has passed, ask your grown-up to take them out of the oven, okay? And then join me back here and I can tell you the last thing we're going to do to finish off those beautiful starry mince pies. Okay, welcome back guys. So hopefully by now your marzipan stars are all softened and have kind of moulded onto your mince pies. And there's one more thing we've got to do, and that is to paint over our starry mince pies with a lovely apricot jam glaze. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 1 teaspoon of hot water, okay? So you might need an adult to help you with that. I'm going to add it to my apricot jam and I'm going to give it a good stir. That's going to kind of melt the apricot jam. You want it to be nice and smooth to form your glaze, okay? So once you've done that, you need your pastry brush, and what you're going to do is you're just going to paint on the apricot jam glaze over the top of your marzipan stars, like so. And this is going to add a really lovely finish to your starry mince pies, okay, and to your marzipan stars. Great work, guys, well done. Now, as a finishing touch, what we can do is we can get a sieve and we can just sieve over some of the icing sugar that we used earlier as kind of dusting to roll out the marzipan, and we can just pop on some icing sugar. Like so. And there you have your starry mince pies. I'm sure you'll agree they look absolutely beautiful and would make a really lovely gift for Christmas. Thank you so much for joining me today for our first bake in our festive bakes menu. I really hope that you enjoyed joining along with me to cook your starry mince pies, but more importantly, I hope you enjoy eating them and sharing them with your family. And I really look forward to seeing you next week for another delicious bake from our festive bakes menu. Have a wonderfully festive week, guys. Bye!